thank you for joining me for week 1. And I want to give a brief overview of what will be discussed in this video. So, we will be discussing part 1 of the 4-part series is the apocalypse of the heart. It is about destroying and revealing, uncovering what's been living inside your heart space, what's been living inside your energy field of your heart, taking an assessment of your feelings, getting into understanding emotional intelligence and the importance of that, and being as though this is going on towards the end of the year, this is going on in the month of December, understanding that the winter and how that can help far as going within and getting deep within yourself to figure out some things that's going on. I will be speaking about the self-assessment, and I will be speaking about the organs that are related to the winter time. And then at the end, I will suggest some things that can assist you along your way. And I'll also have some things left in the description box in order for you to click and maybe download and use to help you. So let's get into it. When you're involved inside a repetitive emotional loop, bondage loop, you do not flow in the way that you are supposed to flow. You become stagnant. The road becomes very, very, very rocky, and you're not able to feel the benefits of what you would call growth. These things feel like stagnation. It's like literally feeling what stagnation is. It's like when you wake up and realize that 5 or 10 years have passed and you have no idea where the time has gone. And a lot of times it's because you've been reliving the same patterns over and over and over and over again and haven't allowed yourself to be aware of the loops. So when your pattern gets like that, it becomes erratic, your flow becomes blocked, and you're not able to move. Now, trust me, this all has everything to do with your spiritual journey or just your personal journey. But we have to take this through slowly and with some steps. So the first part of this is definitely about identifying where you're emotionally stagnant, where you are emotionally depleted, where you are emotionally blocked, and when you haven't allowed yourself to understand emotional intelligence. So just remember that you want to be able to flow. In order to flow, that means that you'll be able to gain what is growing within you and just move with it instead of in resistance to it. Okay? Okay. So consider that you and your heart have been in a dysfunctional relationship. Basically, your brain and your heart has been in a dysfunctional relationship. The marriage is shaky as all hell. So at this point in time, you want to save it. You want to save the relationship. So what do? You relearn each other. You start to court each other. You start to pay attention to each other. With this particular exercise, that's what you're going to do. You're going to start paying attention to your heart, to your feelings, and thinking about what things are on loops, what things are triggering you, where are there blockages. So you're getting to know your heart. You're getting to know the feminine side of you. You're getting to know the other side of you, basically. Okay. So for this particular part, think of it this way. I understand that universal law says the mind is all. I get that. But as a human, it's kind of hard to only think of that being the way when, as a human, the conduit that your mind allegedly works through didn't get formed first. Your heart was formed first. And it is proven through neurologists that it's psychologically impossible to work from your mind or your brain. A thought, put it to you this way, feeling comes before thought. So being well-versed, or your emotional intelligence, is very important, more so than your brain mind intelligence. And I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of the ways that we've been taught is inverted. It's not necessarily the way it actually is, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So to gather intel on yourself and your emotions is more effective to be able to operate through your mind, because your heart sends information to your mind. The way you feel about something will create the way you think about it. Okay? So, okay. Okay, so if you're embracing your upgrades, as you know, the same as if your phone, any technological device that needs to have an update, if there isn't enough space for that update, then it's not getting updated. So what that normally does is put you in a space of scouring or taking inventory of your phone and its storage to see what can be eliminated, to see what is useful and serving and what isn't. And most of the time when you do that, you find pictures that you don't need, pictures that, you know how when you try to take a selfie, it's like 15 pictures to get one. You find that you have apps in your phone that you totally forgot about, emails in your trash that the trash never been emptied. You go through your text message, you go through your downloads, you go through everything in your phone with a fine-tooth comb. Now, the easy way to do this is to go ahead and just purchase more storage, because they love for you to do that too. But what happens when you purchase more storage without taking inventory of what you already have? You wind up not even realizing that you're overloaded or overwhelmed with data. So the point of getting deep down into this self-assessment and self-inventory is to clear out and eliminate some of the things that have been sitting inside of you that are not serving, that have been weighing your heart down, that has been making you, possibly act irrational in spaces where it doesn't warrant that much emotions, that heavy of an emotion. And a lot of this has a lot to do with, and I keep saying that, but it has a lot to do with when you destroy something, at the same time that something is being destroyed, something else is being created. Out of the ashes of destruction, newness is made, So while you're becoming aware of said emotions or said baggage or said thoughts and things that have just been sitting in your body, and understand they have been sitting in your body, in your mind, in your field, in your heart since you got here. These things are also they're not just also a part of your life, the things that you've allowed into your life, but they're also ingrained into the 3D body of you. They're ingrained in you because inside of your mother's womb, you were also created with her emotions during her pregnancy. You're also created with the emotions and the feelings and trauma and things from her parents, your father's parents. Do understand that you are made of the special recipe of the many that came before you. So taking an assessment of your emotions allows you to see what is actually yours. Some of the things and the ways that you feel about things, because your beliefs are also attached to your emotions. What you believe in, you become. So taking an assessment is it's very useful. Put it to you that way. It's just very useful. So take the time to click the link in the bio. I hate to say that, but it's true. Click the link in the bio for the free PDF for your self-assessment and be honest with yourself. Talk to yourself. See what comes up. This is about learning to connect with your intuition. This is about learning to reconnect with the other side of your brain. Learning to embrace your upgrades. Because all of the answers that you need are already within you. So let's move on to the next part. But get into that self-inventory and self-assessment. Okay? All right. Now that the process of identifying it's not necessarily over, but it is we've now begun it. It's an ongoing process to assess yourself. It is an ongoing process to be aware of your workings, the way you're moving through your experience. So, of course, this is one video, but this is something that you can watch over and over again. But now we're at acceptance. Acceptance is, you know what? This is who I am. This is what I did. These are things that I realized that are a part of me, and you accept them. And just because you accept them as being a part of you does not mean that you cannot change them. But the acceptance is about grace. The acceptance is about you realizing that there are some tools that you didn't know that you needed. Therefore, you didn't use them to be emotionally intelligent. There is a study that says that when we're children and we first come out, if our parents are not emotionally intelligent, if our parents do not know how to regulate their own emotions, they don't know how to do that for us. So in those very critical years of development, a lot of parents don't know that emotional stability is something that needs to be paid attention to. You know what I mean? A lot of the times, like, our parents are going through survival mode because a lot of the times our parents didn't necessarily plan for us. So they're going through their own thing. And in those times, sometimes survival is the only thing that is on their mind. Did you eat? Do you have clothes? Do you have somewhere to live? So all of the other stuff doesn't necessarily get nurtured or developed in a way that will benefit us later on in life. So accepting who you are emotionally is very important. This whole thing about embracing your upgrades is not about killing yourself softly. It's about turning the eye inward to assess yourself, to understand yourself. In order to get these upgrades, honey, you're going to have to find out where you possibly need them. You know what I mean? Where could you use more strength? Where could you use more power? Where can you find your power? So accept yourself, accept what you've been feeling, accept how you've dealt with the way you've been feeling, and then now it's time to get to work. It's time to get to work, but be graceful. Be graceful, love yourself through it, cry yourself through it. You know what I mean? Spiritual bath yourself through it. talk yourself through it. Just get into being okay with no matter how it turned out, no matter how destructive it's been for your life, no matter how you may have felt, you may feel like, dang, if only I knew. That doesn't matter. You either know now or you're getting ready to learn how to know now. So just accept it. Accept it. Just accept it. Just accept it, and accept it with grace. Okay? With grace. Y'all want to hear something so interesting? As the human race has been bamboozled. And the fact that we have to literally teach ourselves, like lessons, like school time, like reading and studying how to love ourselves, how to have compassion for ourselves, how to accept ourselves, how to feel like we are worthy, how to feel like we are enough, how to know and stand inside of our own power. The over excessiveness of giving your power away and not realizing that our cup is empty, This is an actual thing. So this is why these kinds of things are so important, because we don't realize that we have to teach ourselves what love is and not what we thought was love. You know what I mean? A lot of the times we grow up with this distorted, fragmented, and downright delusional idea of what love is. So then that's how we operate. It's the same as a child growing up in a home where the father beats the mother, and then he winds up beating his wife, and then so on and so on and so on, but still can recite the same lines as his father did to his mother. Excuse me. And it's sort of like that. So our upbringings, being raised by, in most situations, you know what I mean? I'm not saying everybody, but on a majority scale, we're raised by people who have no idea what love is. We're raised by people who have um expressed and operated through their lives through with their childhood trauma. We're raised by people who have grown up in size but not in mentality and not in regulation of their own emotions. So understanding that there's a foundation to creating your own knowing of who you are is very important. Is very important. This is the basis of the heart thing. It is about allowing the new defining of what is love. What does love mean to me? And how do I understand, create, define what that is, and then apply it in my life, and then apply it outwardly. You know what I mean? But this is about you. So this apocalypse of the heart is really about digging in there and defining these things for you, and not by the your environment, and not by your parents, and not by your friends and your family. That's another thing. Like, your family's idea of love is different. Friends' ideas of love is different. But you don't need to know what their idea of love is, or those communities' idea, the village. You don't need to do. This is about you. This is about you. So remember, this is about you. Okay. Responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. It is your responsibility. It is my responsibility. It is every individual's personal responsibility to get in the driver's seat of their lives. It is your responsibility to understand and know what you are feeling, to be able to detach yourself from certain feelings, be able to regulate certain feelings, be able to assess certain feelings. Be the observer of yourself. That is your responsibility. It is your responsibility because you are responsible for your own actions. And as we know, our emotions can take us on quite a path if we allow them to. Now, understanding that we are always going to be going through ebbs and flows and in and out of realms and dimensions of emotions throughout all times of the day, dreams, daydreaming, just waking life, just in general. So, taking responsibility for your emotions and the actions that come with those is primo. It's almost on the it's on the lines of getting there to on the road to mastery, and then to be able to decode them is even more. And we'll get into decoding emotions and things like that later on in the series. But just taking the reins and getting in the driver's seat of your life, becoming the captain of your ship again. Because a lot of the times when your emotions are all over the place and you don't know how to control your emotions, or you're not even identifying with your emotions, or unpacking them, going beyond the surface of emotions, you find yourself kind of just sitting in a passenger seat or sitting in a seat on the ship and just looking around and stuff, just being affected by the waves. You're not steering yourself through the shaky waters. You're not steering yourself from one destination to another. You wind up just sitting in the middle of the sea, just sitting there. You're not navigating. There's no trajectory. There's no anything. I just spoke to someone, a client a couple weeks ago, and I told him, like, you got to know that growth is a choice. It's a choice. Yeah, your body grows up on its own, and, you get bigger or smaller or, wider or, longer, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to emotions and feelings and mental stuff, you got to choose that. You got to choose that. And you know this to be true. How many people do you know that have been sitting in the same relationship, the same, taking things so personal and being angry for years and years and years, like still mad at their moms, still mad at their dads, and you know what I mean, just carrying around the weight like the bag lady. So taking responsibility is key, honey. It is one of the first steps in maturity, is not being the victim. So get up on that responsibility. Take responsibility for your emotional well-being. All of this is about you. It is all about you. It is all about you. It is about disconnecting from the collective, disconnecting from the world, and getting into you. No matter what the hell is going on out there. If you up on Sister Myra, if you watch Sister Myra's videos years ago, she always said, I don't care what's going on outside your door. You stay inside and you pay attention to what's going on with you. That ain't got nothing to do with you. So the aliens and the economy, the solar flares, the moon, new and full, and all of that kind of stuff like that, all of those things are happening within you. So paying too much attention with these two eyes as to what's going on out there makes no sense. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility are your own aliens. Your responsibilities are your own solar flares, because honey, inside of your cells is nuclear energy. Get into that. Inside of you is your own new moon and full moon. And I'm actually going to be offering that too, but we'll get into that later. But no, get into you. Get into you. It's giving forget about them and that. So, responsible for yourself. It's your responsibility for you, your own universe. Okay? Okay, my lovelies, this is where I'm going to stop at. The rest of the steps for change will be linked in the bio with the PDA for the emotional self assessment, emotional intelligence self assessment, along with some things about responsibility and also identifying things. But this is the first part of, like I said, the 4-part series, and I'm so excited to continue on the journey for the rest of the month because, as you know, the winter months are about going within. And that's what I was actually supposed to add to the end of this. After this clip, I'll put in a couple of things that are attributes of the winter time and why I wanted to start this particular series now, moving forward into, like I said, what I call is the first quarter, which we are already in now. So click the link in the bio and finish up. This is free. It's free. And finish up this work on your own. And please comment below. Tell me your experience. Tell me if this is something that you're interested in. Tell me if you'll be looking forward to the next part of the series, which I don't know if I have my paper. I don't have my paper right in front of me as to what the next episode is, but either way, just remember proper preparation prevents poor performance. And I truly believe in moving into 2024, that 8 universal year, with all the abundance, even though the world may act or look, seem like that's not what's happening, but there's an abundance of potential to grow personally from within. And I just feel like we have to clear out the space for the newness of who we are. We need to become. We need to become. And everything that we want to become is already within us. We just have to clean up the garden, pull out the weeds, get rid of the parasites. You know what I mean? Throw them those old ideas and those thoughts and feelings and emotions and things away to break ground for something new. Move doubt away and fill it with confidence. Move low self-esteem away and replace it with high self-esteem. Just remembering who you are and remembering that we've just been plagued with an overly excessive amount of masculine energy, and it's time to allow feminine energy to flourish and grow within you. You just have to make your garden a fertile ground. So, like I said, the next clip will be about some winter stuff, and then a close with a small homework assignment if you want to do the homework assignment. It's really cute. And then next week's episode. So have a good one, y'all. I'll see you then. Bye. So, some attributes of winter. Winter is about the darkness. It is about staying in the darkness. It is about how to stay internally warm through the cold weather months. How is the womb nurturing the seeds to come? Dealing with your shadow self. It's about a lot of inward work. The same way that the soil is being prepped to be fruitful and multiply come spring, So it's the same situation. You go deep within yourself, gaining clarity and sorry, lost my train of thought. Gaining clarity in getting more of what needs to stay and what doesn't need to stay. And as you know, like the theme through this whole first episode or first video of the series is paying attention to what's not serving you. Paying attention to, do I want to move forward into the next year this same person, or just do you want to move forward with your life being the same that you've been before if you haven't been happy with that? Or do you want to grow? Do you want to grow? Just realizing where the potential is within you. That's what winter is about. Winter is really about gaining insight into you and taking the time to find yourself. Find yourself, even though we may have jobs and commitments and things like that. But y'all, we have to find time. We have to make time for us. I say this all the time. There's no way in the world that I only came here to work. There's no way in the world that I really just came here to make sure that my credit score is great. To get the house and get this and this, all this kind of stuff, especially when you really dig down to the fact that you don't own anything. You really don't own anything. If somebody still wants some money from you, you don't own it. If can you not pay no money on something? That you don't own it. So realizing that the American dream is not real. And we live in a world of glamour. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bitter. It's just realizations. So then that always brings me to, then what did I come here for? What did I decide to come here for? Because that's something that I believe. I believe that there's so many choices. They tell you can create your life and all those types of things like that. So why didn't you create the mission for you to come here? And I think a lot of the times we live here and we go through these cycles. We get stuck in these cycles and we're not really taught, or we're not aware of what seasons really mean. We don't delve into, okay, so why is this it's very repetitive. The summer and the winter, the fall and the winter and the spring. Like, what does this mean? So the silence of the winter, when you pay attention to the attributes that it does in nature, how does that relate back to you? What's that data coming back to you as? Well, okay. Well, the trees are shedding. They getting real skinty, honey. You know what I mean? They getting real skimpy. They not lush like they used to be. They're shedding. So maybe you need to be shedding too. Because if the trees still had the leaves on them, not all trees, I know, but just go with this. If the trees that you see that are bare now, if they had all those leaves that were from the spring, late summer and spring, how would they be able to bring all those other new leaves that come the following season? So seasons are about release and rebirth. Seasons are about letting go and renewal. Letting go, renewal, restore, rebirth. Like that's what this is about. So yeah, so that's what winter is about. And I like to start late November, early into December, and then I kind of like carry out this throughout the time. Just getting in tune with the cycles of my body, back in tune, because modern society kind of leaves you all over the place. You know what I mean? And gives you all these different things to focus on except for yourself. So those are some attributes of winter.